If you're working 80 hours a week and calling it ambitious, I want to offer you a different read on it. For a lot of high performers, an 80-hour week is the most sophisticated form of avoidance that there is. It's just disguised as drive. Because as long as you're constantly moving, you never have to sit still enough to ask yourself the questions that don't have easy answers. Is this the business I actually want? Or am I just relieved that I'm still standing? If you've ever thought of those things, you're not alone. I myself have felt it, and countless of my clients have felt it. In this video, I'm gonna show you how busyness gets used as avoidance without you actually choosing it. And more importantly, how to tell the difference between hours that you're spending truly building something versus hours that are spent hiding from something. I'm Jesse Hoffman, performance coach, founder of the Clarity Code. I work with high performers across 4 continents, from elite athletes to founders running 6 to 8 figure operations. And the through line is that they're all scaling, they're all ambitious, but they're all hitting a ceiling that more strategy and harder work will not solve. Let's get right into the 3 specific ways that busyness, hustle, nonstop grind are just substitutes for a hard, honest conversation with yourself. It starts for most with the finish line bias. What's the finish line bias? Well, I'm glad you asked. Have you ever been hit with a really hard question or problem that you didn't quite have a certain answer to? Maybe a potential strategy in the business. Which direction do I go? You're left spinning your wheels a little bit, so what's your first instinct? Let me go find a task that I can complete, because guess what? Tasks have certain outcomes. So when the question is, oh, is this one thing actually working? Is that gonna do it for me? Is this the direction I should go? When all of that shows up, it just gets replaced by a task, because you feel like you just gotta get to the finish line. And that hard question is not gonna get you there immediately. There's real validated research behind why this happens, and psychologists refer to it as the need for cognitive closure. The human species has a clear and well-documented preference for certain answers versus open-ended ones. And generally, those answers are the ones that matter a little bit less. So those tasks are gonna win every single time because they have a finish line, the others don't. So we get to go through that finish line, feel the rush of success and achievement, and build out that dopamine reward loop, which forces us right back to craving that finish line again. And that is the trade that you're making without realizing it. Quick completion instead of long-term, true, meaningful gain. And one way to avoid this is to grow to be able to recognize that swap in the moment when it's about to happen. That instance where that hard question bubbles up and you're sitting there wondering, should the next move be to open up my laptop and build something? Or should it be to face the question? And a quick tell to see how far into this avoidance loop you are is how fast does that trade happen for you right now? Even as a mental performance coach who's been studying cognitive psychology for over a decade, I am no more immune to this than anyone else. Would I rather sit down and do cold outreach to people who may or may not feel like they need my help? Or would I rather just make some content to feel good and to put value out there and know that I can check off the box? That's a clear and obvious trap. And so the whole ball game for someone like me or someone like you who's going through the same thing is to build the systems to recognize when that's happening and create constraints to not allow yourself to deviate from any path that you commit to. Whether it is completing a certain task or engaging in some sort of endeavor that has an unknown finish line. That for almost everyone, they progress through the loop to identity protection. They spend so much time reaching for the next task, grinding for this, hustling for that, task, movement. And through that, they make those micro concessions of themselves, taking the easier thing to grab. But at least they're hardworking. If your sense of self is built on being the hardest working person in the room, slowing down will never feel like rest. It's gonna feel like you're giving up the one thing that makes you valuable, that makes you worthy, or maybe better than everyone else. And what actually scares you about some free time to recover and decompress is what it might reveal underneath all of your work. Now, I'm not saying that the fix is to force rest. There are specific protocols for that. But what I do know is absolutely necessary is separating your worth from your output on purpose, deliberately, before you make any effort to try to slow down, or else that slowing down is going to feel like a threat to you every single time. That's just gonna flip you right back to the fight or flight of grabbing the one thing that makes you feel at home, safe, productive. And so now what? After you have been hiding a version of yourself that you're afraid to face and are sitting there wondering, am I doing the right things? Why aren't things feeling as they should or as I thought they would when I started a business? What do I say when people ask me, how are you and what have you been up to? Oh, I've just been busy. Yeah, that's become a socially acceptable answer, hasn't it? Nobody questions it, and certainly nobody sits there and asks you, other than me, what are you intentionally building towards? And that hustle and grind, that's one kind of exhaustion that people actually compliment you for. They validate you for. And now you're stuck in the loop at external validation. The toughest part is that an 80-hour work week will continue to get you admiration. Very rarely will it get you the question of, what are you actually avoiding in those 80 hours? If this is striking a chord for you at all, this is the fundamental curse of entrepreneurship and being an ambitious, high achiever, high performer. You're not alone, but it does not have to feel this way. If this does hit home, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. I'd hope that I have way more to offer here on this channel for you. If you find yourself in this phase, then I encourage you to start answering that question of how are you completely honestly with one person that you trust. Just start there. You can even start right here in the comments. This is a space where we're all trying to grow together. And just that is enough to break that loop, because it usually runs on the people that are not willing to push back, that are not willing to sack up and admit that there's another level that they're meant to be operating at. I worked with a client who was running a multi-7-figure agency, and they came to me so proud of their 70, 80 hour, 100 hour work weeks some weeks. And they had that same exact framing of it being ambition and purpose, work ethic. But when I sat down with him and dissected his calendar across the past 6 to 12 months alone, not to mention God knows what he was doing towards the beginning. Around half of his hours, literally nearly 40 hours a week, were being dedicated to a part of his business that was certainly at least half as profitable as the rest of his business. And he had even admitted that he had planned to stop doing it entirely around a year prior, but for reasons I just described, he kept getting dragged right back into the work because it happened to be work that he knew he could complete confidently. And because of that, it became a part of his work that defined him, because he was constantly able to work and complete it and feel good and be validated. Once I made it clear to him, his hours dropped to around 50 to sometimes 60 hours a week, and his output was almost identical. Everything that actually needed to get done got done. And all of that restored energy and focus and cognitive capacity was able to go into other areas of his business that allowed him to grow way faster than he had ever been growing before. The lesson to learn from him, so that you don't have to yourself, is that all of that time spent and wasted, quite frankly, avoiding that one real gut punch question could potentially be costing you just as much as just sitting on your ass would. Now, all this stuff effectively lives at the level of your identity. And that's why it's always one of the first things that I untangle with a client before touching any surface level systems, strategies, because a calendar full of avoidance mechanisms is impossible to be optimized. And I need to make sure to add that this is exactly where AI plays a role in all of these certainty substitutions, in that finish line bias. It makes it so much easier to fall into because it can endlessly hand you the next task in seconds, which allows that whole loop of dodging the question run even faster and faster than it ever could before. If you're wondering to what degree you could be caught in this loop, my clear diagnostic allows you to measure your performance across 5 dimensions. It takes about 4 minutes to complete. You can find that in the description, and if you are ready to work on this directly, get out of your own way, and get some one-on-one support, the apply link to work with me is in the description as well. As always, I want to leave you with one clear, actionable step that you can execute on tonight. Take a few minutes to really think, sit down, and name that one question about your business or your life that you've been avoiding with task after task, instead of a true, honest answer. Just name it. You don't have to solve it tonight. Just get it out of your head onto paper. Now go get after it. Get out of the avoidance loop, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and check out this next video.